Hello, guys. Wade here with CompuTec, bringing you another video. You probably haven't seen the other videos. I should get them up tonight, even though when I say this will be the last video. So today, I am covering a subject that a lot of people ask me about, friends, everything, uh, and let's move this over here. I'm gonna kind of go over it, and I feel like this is a really good video to go over. So what am I talking about? You want to start your IT career, but you don't know how. Well, I'm here to tell you the first step. If you don't want to go to college, you don't want to do that, you don't want to invest the time, here's what you've got to do. We're talking about the A+ certification. Uh, it was the second certification I ever took and passed. The first one was networking because I was specializing in networking. So if you hear any background noise, I'm at home doing these videos. It would be my son. He's up right now playing Minecraft. Sometimes he gets excited, even though I try to keep it quiet whenever I'm doing these, and he should know. But sometimes he doesn't. He doesn't listen. So that being said, guys, let's talk about the A+ certification. So like I said, the first thing I took was Net Plus, and then without any training or anything, I took the A+ behind it, and I passed it. There was 2 exams, and it still is today, software and hardware. When I took it, it was a lifetime certification. Now it's changed a little bit, but they honored the people who took it as a lifetime certification when they paid and taken that certification. So the only reason I actually took it, Net Plus is above it, apparently, as far as how they honor the certifications to a certain extent, but it is 2 different fields, so it would be a little bit different. Networking and PC repair is a little bit different, and like I said, I took it without that. But here's the thing I will tell you guys: the A+ certification is not just knowing how to put a PC together, how to tear one apart, how to fix and wind. You got to know a little bit more than that. It's going to boil down to like maybe understanding some of your bus speeds, the difference between USB 2 and USB 3.0, understanding the difference between PCI and PCI Express possibly. How far, or what's the difference between SATA 3 or SATA 2 and SATA 1, SATA 3, I think also, what's their transfer rates, so on from there. So you're going to get stuff based around them kind of questions, which is more technical. Do you have to know it to fix a PC? No, not really. Do you have to know it to understand the differences of a PC? Yes, and that's what they want to know, is do you understand the differences? Do you understand why this technology is evolving? And so when somebody asks, you know what to tell somebody, or you know where to look. If something's not fast as somebody wants it, well, we can bump this up and it'll transfer double that from, this to this. So that stuff that does matter, knowing what the difference is. To a certain extent, I don't think it makes anybody a better troubleshooter or anything to a certain extent, but it solves some problems or issues that you want to increase in that area. So the A+ certification, if you don't want to go to college, you don't want to go to a technical school or something to that extent, you want to do it from home. Let's say you're tired of doing this, you're like, I want a desk job, or I want to get into IT, I always loved it, but I don't know how to do it, and I don't know, I can't get hired. You probably won't. Guys and girls, you will probably not. If you haven't by now, and you're in, I'd say like 20s, 21, it's not going to happen. There's so many people out there that's either one, got experience and they know somebody to get the experience, or 2, they've got a certification that they're going to pick over some kind of degree. So I value, and I'm going to tell you this is me. I've been to a technical college, I've been to a university, and I've got certifications. I find certifications to be a lot more better than someone would, just because they took classes or they went to the tech. I brought people in, and I've looked at them like, okay, they know this, but they have no clue about this. They never, all they know is what they were told or what they read. And there is people like that. So certification a lot of times is good to have hands-on for, and not only that, it kind of helps. If you do put together PCs, you do know how it's going to help a ton compared to somebody who don't. So I ain't saying that hands-on is useless when I say A plus, but you do have to know just more than that. You do have to read a little bit, not a ton, but you do have to read a little bit. So with that being said, A plus is change. It's always changing, which is good. Now it is still two sections. Like I said, you got the hardware, but they're focusing around multiple operating systems. You got to remember, at this one time, it was just Windows and Apple, pretty much, or Mac. There was only two operating systems. Smartphones just recently started exploding. Not many people messed with them, and even the tablets. Android was very low, so they didn't focus on it much. iOS was kind of up and coming. It's been around for a little while, but they never really focused on it. But now these are becoming big. They're becoming big things to actually focus on, guys. So the A pluses realize that, and so on from there. The work environment I have, a lot of people have iPhones, and I have to work on them iPhones sometimes. So, I mean, they're understanding that. A lot of companies are providing them. So I have to work on them because it's under the technology department. Of course, when something goes wrong, they call me, and it's up to me to figure out what's the deal. Same way with tablets. A few tablets have issues. Most of them's got the Android operating system. They come to me, have to figure it out, have to troubleshoot them. So these are things that you're running into every day to that extent. Now, I can't picture the A plus being too crazy on them because you're talking about four categories that can kind of be broken up really good, but you can't focus a ton of questions on each one. So I'm thinking it's going to be a broad picture, which to me makes the A plus maybe a little bit easier because it was so heavily focused on Windows, and it was pretty insane on the operating system part compared to somebody who fixes them. Uh, it was when I took it, it was a lot Windows focused, and it was pretty detailed on the operating system to a certain extent for A plus, which is good. But some of it, knowing it didn't really make you that much better at being A plus, like a PC repair person for a working environment. Just wasn't bad not to know either. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to move this screen over because I don't want it to get all crazy. Let's see, minus everything. Let's get this up. So, okay, what I pulled up is the CompTIA certification page, which is https://certification.comptia.org. CompTIA is COMPTIA. And then you'll see the overview and certifications. And when I looked at them, there's another one called IT Fundamentals, but I'm not sure if that one's below the A plus or not, or if that's the overall. I don't know nothing about it. That's something that wasn't around back when I was around, but a lot of the other ones was. So with the A plus now, I think it's good to realize what you're going to have to study for if you're looking to take the A plus. And like I said, A plus is the way to get into the IT field. If you ain't got nothing, you don't want to waste time in college, you don't want to waste all the money, self-study, go for the A plus, but you will have to be disciplined. You can't walk in overconfident just because you mess with PCs. Will it help? Yes. I say you're already took in like half the battle easily, so you won't have to study a ton, but all you have to know is some of the more technical book stuff on some of the stuff, some of it. And you can find them out by simply taking, some practice tests or reading through a CompTIA Plus book that is up to date. Okay, so looking at that, exam codes, and this is super important, especially when you're ordering books or you're looking to study for it. Do not just punch in anything. Some of them will be older. So the A Plus is made of two tests, and same with the exam codes. The A Plus 220-901 and the 220-902. One's going to be operating system, and the other is probably going to be hardware / troubleshooting. So this one's been launched, or these exams has been active since December the 15th, 2015. And sometimes they update them. I don't know how far or how much it takes, or how often they do it. So CompTIA A Plus 220-901 covers the PC hardware and peripherals. Peripherals being your keyboards, mouse, monitors, printers, but they're not going to get too detailed probably on the printers. Hard drive, your CD-ROM, and any USB device, your video cards with the PCI Express, AGP, whatever, power supply, and so on from there. They probably won't hit a ton on the peripherals, but they're going to hit a little bit on them. Uh, they're going to probably hardware is going to be. I'd study them, but I mean, don't go too crazy in them. Mobile device hardware, which is your phones. I can't see them being big on those. You might have to understand how to link maybe a Bluetooth. I'm just guessing. I haven't really looked. Like I said, I've never taken the updated test, which I would be welcome to if I ever had donations and somebody said, hey, here's a donation, take the test, tell us what you remember after you take it, and tell us what to focus on. I'd be more than welcome to do that. But I have no reason to pay for an exam that I'm pretty much certified in. And not only that, I feel that if I walked in right now, I would score fairly high. Not an ace, but fairly high. The only thing I struggle at is the Apple operating system, I would feel. The rest, I think I would answer correctly 95%, if not more, of them questions, because I deal with them every day. So we're covering mobile devices hardware. It can't be too crazy there. I don't see how, because there's just not many people going to get down and break a mobile device completely down on its hardware. Maybe a little bit on the screen and stuff like that, troubleshooting maybe some, but outside of that, I mean, the closest thing I can think of is linking like a Bluetooth headset and a charger to some extent. Maybe, I don't know, other Bluetooth stuff, printing off of them, I don't know. Network and troubleshooting hardware. Networking, I wouldn't go too crazy on. I think what they're going to determine is, because it is the A+, they're not going to take away from the Net Plus. I think it's going to be more if your PC is what's not communicating, or if it's something to do with the network itself. So understanding a little bit is going to be a little bit of a big deal with that. Troubleshooting hardware, as it is troubleshooting hardware. That is the core to a IT person, is being able to troubleshoot the hardware. And it says network and connectivity issues. Just like I said, it's going to pretty much determine if the PC is just not communicating, if it's based on the PC or based on, network from there. They're not going to go in detail to network, because they're going to expect you to be the PC guy. There's going to be a network administrator. You're going to be calling them once you realize, hey, the PC's not connecting, and I've tried this and this, can you check the network? And it's not going to go past that. So like I said, do not get crazy. Only focus on what the PC deals with for the networking. Is it getting an IP address? Is it picking up default gateway? How to look at these things, and so on from there. So we're going down here. I'd probably understand what a switch maybe is, but outside of that, it wouldn't be too crazy. I won't say, looking at the new A+ book, you'll know for sure, but I just can't picture them hammering much on the network side. So the A+ 220-902, which is the other one, covers installing and configuring operating systems. Installing and configuring. So installing, you might have to know the difference between the file formats for Windows. Like one time there was FAT32, NTFS, so on and so on. There's different ones. Understand the differences kind of for them, because that could be some of the questions. I can see them popping up from there. Not only Windows, you got iOS, which is going to be iOS, Android, and then Apple OS and Linux. It's probably going to go in that order, to be honest, most likely. The only time you're really going to see Linux is on a server in businesses most of the time. I ain't saying that there's none with operating systems. I'm talking about thinking down the line. The way they list these is how I would take the priority of studying them, probably. You're going to have mostly Windows in a work environment. iOS is going to be for your iPhones, your iPads. Android is for your Android phones. So iOS and Android is almost even though I do see a lot more iOS in the business environments. For example, where I work, there's Apple phones, the i7 phones, and they have a problem, they bring it to me. It's the only Apple product that I really deal with and have experience in. And to me, they're not an Android, but troubleshooting them in a way is the same thing to a certain extent. Android's going to be your tablets also, and phones. They're going to be, like I said, iOS and Android, I think, is half and half. Windows primary, iOS, Android is going to be equal, and then the Apple operating system is going to be third in line, and then Linux, which you ain't going to see a ton on Linux, but understand Linux, know how to get to your settings, and so on from there. Most of them they're going to probably want to know, can you get to your settings? Can you do the troubleshoot? Know where the management tools are for like Windows. You got computer management. You got some system information. Um, MS config. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Know how to kind of build up. Like Windows is based on registry, and so on from there. Knowing them things is pretty good to know. And like I said, you're gonna always want a book that's gonna get you to where you need to do. So it also addresses security and fundamentals of cloud computing and operational procedures. Addresses securities. They're probably going to hit a little bit on this. It's going to be the really broad stuff. Like I said, if something gets too crazy security, you're going to have a network person deal with that part. The fundamentals of cloud computing. Cloud is becoming the thing. So cloud computing is not going to be really hard. I can't picture that being hard. It's going to be more about understanding how to kind of set something up onto the cloud and kind of understanding how it connects to a cloud. It's not a lot of troubleshooting that would be as much on the A+ side, but maybe for a real small business, and it's not. Personally, setting up anything cloud is one of the easiest things you can do. Now configuring it, there ain't, like, you're not doing servers, you're not doing this or that. I mean, A+ doesn't really do that, so you're not going to have to focus on that. So that kind of goes out the window. So it's the only thing I see is basically connecting the PC to communicate to the cloud. No big deal. Backing up maybe on the cloud. Nothing crazy. Pretty simple. And operational procedures that can be a bunch of little things. I think they do that just to cover every other little thing that's not listed. So we go down here to the number of questions. Maximum of 90 questions. I can't remember if that's for each exam. I'm going to say maybe so, maybe not. It'll be 45 to each maximum, if not. Like I said, they're split in two parts, and it's been a little while since I've taken it, and I can't remember how many questions there was. I know it wasn't a super short exam, so I'm going to go with each one on the 90 questions. Then we'll go on down here. The types of questions. You will be glad to know that there are multiple choice questions, single and multiple responses. Multiple responses means there can be more than one answer, and you will be able to check them. Drag and drops and performance based. So I mean, that's a lot. That, to me, that makes the certification much easier than it normally is, because of the fact that it is multiple choice. You're going to get to see the answers. So if you're not sure about something, you might can use process of elimination by knowing what it's referencing to, which is a big deal. It always helps compared to having something blank and it says type in what do, or as far as like Cisco gives you the interfaces, and from there, and it tells you how to configure. You pretty much got a straight up configure. There is no multiple choice from there. So I mean, you kind of get the idea there. So it's nice to have the multiple choice. Length of the test is 90 minutes. So we're going to go 90 minutes. It says test. It doesn't say tests. So it should be 90 minutes of test, which gives you a minute a question, which is pretty good time. It's a good bit of time to think about one. Some of them you're going to answer pretty quick, so you're going to gain some. So 90 minutes, yeah, it's about an hour and a half. So if we're looking at the 220-901, which is your hardware, peripherals, network and troubleshooting, so on, which this always shocked me. You need a 675 or higher to pass on a scale of 900. So the maximum amount of points you can have or score is 900, which is perfect. And on the operating system one, installing and configuring, on the 220-902, we've got 700 on a scale of 900. So you're looking at a little bit. If you take the 900 scale, you divide it by, you're looking at probably a little, right at about, what would we say, about 75-78% is what you're going to have to score to pass. The 675 is about 70%. So It's like almost a normal test. 70% and above is passing on the hardware, but remember the software, you need to aim above that. I would try to aim 80% is a little bit safer goal, but it takes roughly about 75% or higher to score. So they really want to know you know your stuff. Some of them are higher than that, so this one's a little bit forgiving. Because the whole part of being certified is that you verifying that you know your stuff really well, and it's something to be proud of because it carries you through life, increases your pay, it helps you in the job field, so on for the field that you're going in. Recommended experience: 6 to 12 months hands-on experience in the lab or field. Um, Guys, I think the hands-on experience is huge. Do I think you need that much to take this A plus certification? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even if you're fresh, I think if you really work hard and you studied the A plus and you have a PC to mess with, you got options to check out these things. You can order an Android tablet dirt cheap. They're identical to about the phones. You might have access to somebody who has an iPhone that'll let you kind of look at it or so on. Or you can buy one that doesn't even really work because you don't really have to see it working on the airwaves. You just want to be able to see how to get to it, how to operate it, how to do things in it. All them things, you can get a hold of all these things. Linux is free, so no problems there. You can use something to make it another boot on your PC, and you can look up how to do that, or you can buy a cheap PC and just load a Linux operating system on it. And so on from there. Mac, maybe not as easy to get a hold of, but maybe you know somebody with one. Look, I think from straight no experience, you can probably be ready for the A plus. And if somebody's really grinding, I think in a month, and this is being serious, like I think I could take somebody, train them, and in a month I'd say, all right, you could pass the A plus, or you have a shot at passing it. But 2 to 3 months is more safer. I give it 3 months. If you don't, you're scared of failing and you want to pass it your first time, I'd definitely give it 3 months. But I'm talking about you're going to be hitting this stuff like you're going to be putting in 20 to 40 hours a week, hammering on it Monday through Friday. If you do the weekends, however you want to spread it out, about 30 to 40 hours, hitting it up, tearing stuff down, understanding it, looking up. You don't got to have it all in your hands. I do think A plus is one of the things you can do a lot of reading and get by with it. Pass the exam, because it's not going to have stuff kind of right there as physically like Cisco's certification does, or some certifications where it's a little bit more of a emulator you're running on. This is more of a hands-on, or not hands-on, but more of a word and understanding thing, which to me means more you can get away with just book knowledge, and it helped. But I mean, hands-on knowledge is going to help a ton too, because it's going to help you memorize it easier. So moving on, languages, of course, English, German, Japanese, and Spanish. Modern, them are the 4 languages that they offered in. Of course, I took English. Retirement, to be determined, usually 3 years after launch. What that means is, I guess, when they're retiring this exam number and when it changed to another one. So they're saying at 2018, most likely they will retire this exam and it will be an upgraded, up-to-date exam. So it says $205 per exam. Two exams, so you're going to be paying out about $410 per an exam. I don't think you want to take them kind of close together, but you can take one and wait 2 months and take the other. With that being said, if you split it up like that, you could spend a month and a half hammering each section. When I say 3 months earlier, I meant for the entire thing. Like I said, one, if you're really going to put in the work and you're really, really going to try, you can do it in a month. And if you're going to do that, I almost recommend doing it a month in each side, because it's just going to be easier studying one side at a time from there. So that's basically the opening tool, guys, to getting you to the A plus part from there. So with that, let me say it now. I mean, that's, if you want to get into the field, that's the way to do it from there. So the next thing we're going to look at is, we know what it takes and so on from there. So let's look at the next thing, or next whatever. So I'm going to search A+. Okay, A+, all-in-one certification guide. Okay, and bam, this is the right material. So we're looking at exams 220-901, 220-902. You can see how it's about 33 bucks to buy. If you want to buy 2 books, that's completely fine. Look at the dates, like this one's August 1st, so this one's probably going to be based around the correct one for your A+ certification. See, this one's at 801 and 802, and I will say this, even though it lists 901 and 902, you can't take the 801 and 802. They offer the 801, but you have to take them based on that. If you start with the 220 801 and you pass it, you can't go take the 220 902. You basically have to stick to the 800, and the same with the 900. You have to stick to the 900, so you can't mix those up, to be honest. So these are actually all got good ratings. And it looks like the exam cram, these are the two that I'd probably recommend, if any. I would go with the 901 and 902, and the reason I say that is because it's going to look better and it's more up to date, and you're going to find more information out on it because more people are taking these, so you can find out a little bit more on them. So here's an exam cram for the 901, 902. Same thing here. 19 bucks. It's about a paperback. If it was me, I probably would buy this one right here. Is a bestseller. I would probably buy it. I'm not sure how many pages it is. I was looking to see if it tells you how many pages there is in this. Written by the leading authority on the A+ certification and training, the self-study book and CD has been thoroughly updated to cover 100% of the exam objectives on the 2015 A+, which is issued in 2015. New topics include managing and maintaining cellular devices, including tablets, configuring operating system, including Windows 8, Android, and iOS, and enhanced mobile-centered security and troubleshooting procedures. The all-in-one exam guide enables you to take the test with complete confidence. It also serves as a practical reference to the IT support and technical personnel. So actually their content has practice exams on it, which is really good. For 901 and 902 and hundreds of accurate practice exam questions. So that's a real good practice. Like once you read through this, I would hit those, and I would constantly hit them. I would take one before it, read through the book, so on from there, and take them here or there. Do not just go and take them and that's all you do. I'd definitely read the book from there, and then just keep taking exams till you score really high, and figure out which ones you're doing wrong on. Go back and read and understand it, because the exam question and what they say they're 100% accurate, that question would be there, but it might be worded differently. So what you're marking to be the right answer on the practice, well, the exam might throw something in and it will be a question similar, but it would be based on that. So it's good to understand the difference. So if you get one wrong, go back and really understand it. More than an hour of online video training, online performance-based simulations that prepare you for the performance-based exam questions. That's a good one. Linked PC tools, a PDF copy of the book. The cool thing about a PDF copy of the book, guys, is you can use Adobe Reader and it will read it to you with the text to speech. I used to do it a ton for my university classes. So this is the book to get. If I was studying, this would be the one to get. $33.08, $29.11 if you're buying it used, and it's the most up to date. And then if I wasn't very sure and I went through that, I want a second opinion, or look at something else, even though that one seems to have it all, the way they say it, I might would pick up the exam cram and just run through it. It's just practice questions, so it's good for preparing for what I would do is I'd get that book that I showed you first, do the practice test, so on from there, get good, buy the exam cram, take his test, see where you stand on it, and keep doing it, and even take any practice exams you can take online. So every time you take in a different one that you're consistently scoring, I'd aim for like 85% or higher. This is consistently scoring in the 80s or higher before I would take the certification. If you're scoring in the 70s, 75s, you can take the risk and take it. You might pass it, you might not. Depends on how you value it and how quickly you want to get it, or if you just want to see what the environment is of a certification. So that's the tools. Um, from there, uh, that's the books you would need. I mean, really, that's the material. If you read those two, you can get away with just reading and actually being able to take this A plus and passing it. I believe that someone could easily do that. From me taking it, that's how I felt. It's one of them certifications that you can take, and you don't have to be as hands-on and get away with it and pass it. If you do want to do the full deal of hands-on and all that, I recommend, but you already got a PC, is looking at motherboards, looking at this stuff, maybe getting a spare PC. Find one that's, you know, messed up. I mean, start working on something that's messed up, offer to help or something for free, just so you understand it, and so on from there. It's really hard to mess up anything as a PC repair. The thing you got to be most careful with is always just the hard drive, um, processor, motherboard too, I guess, to a certain extent. But you really have to be putting too much force to mess up those if they're not already messed up, or just absolutely not paying attention. Most of the things just going to be plugging in. You really can't get too much wrong. Um, from there, and there's enough stuff you can go look up that'll help you out with a lot of that until you get comfortable to where you don't even have to look at it. If you want to, you can buy an old, cheap PC, hard drive, and so on. From there, you probably spend about 200, 250. Be completely fine. You'll have your PC, tablet. You could probably spend $50 on an Android tablet, if not 40, if not lower, like through Amazon, eBay. Um, iPhone. You're probably gonna have to borrow somebody's. I recommend you borrowing somebody's unless you want to get like an iPhone 3 or something. You might find a cheap one. Find stuff cheap. For example, if you get a PC, obviously that thing said Windows 8, right? Focused on Windows 8. Even though maybe it wasn't out, maybe 7. 7 should have been out by then. Well, 7 was out because of Windows 8. Okay, I don't know why I'm thinking that way. So Windows 8, so you'll have to load Windows 8 on there, so you can understand it and basically get used to it. That'd be the one. If these books focus on Windows 8, I recommend you focusing on Windows 8. That's the operating system you're going to want to put on it. Or you want to buy a real cheap PC with that operating system on it. And go from there. All your tablets, I mean, it's going to say Android or not. Just get your Android tablet. They're all the same. As far as troubleshooting them, they're all the same. There ain't nothing but a few differences between ice cream, jelly beans, so on from there. Might ask you a few questions about those, but there ain't a lot of difference. I mean, you can look them up on paper and pretty much have it on a half a page with the differences to the operating system and why it was, upgraded or advanced on each one. Buy an iPhone, iOS doesn't say a certain version, so it's going to be more broad, I think, on iOS. Mac, to me, is one of those you're not going to run into as easy. That's going to be the hardest one to get with the Apple iOS that I can think of, or operating system. The easiest is Linux, because if you have that Windows 8 PC, once you've done enough, or if you want to look up how to do a dual boot operating system or create a virtual machine VM, then you would want to load Linux operating system, which is usually a free source operating system. There is things that you can pay for on them, but they're usually free source. You can find them anywhere. So that one's the easiest to get a hold of, is the Linux. So, don't know if you guys can hear me. I just heard them then. So that is like what I would do. If you want to do the hands-on, you don't have to do the hands-on, but you will need the books. Like, I think it's one of those you cannot skip the books at all. There's some things you might can skip the books on certification wise, but A plus is not one of them, guys. If there's anything I can tell you, it was more than just knowing the hands-on by far. You will be shocked if you do it. And there are usually the people that end up failing because they think it's only hands-on. I'm not saying that you can't. Look, I did get away with it, but some of that stuff was more advanced, and luckily it was stuff that I knew. Not because I did it, but because I read on them. I kind of knew it. I always kept up with technology as it was advancing for the past few years, and so I understood the differences and the transfer rates of some stuff and cables and so on from there. So that, guys, is how what it takes to do the A plus. Like I said, to recap, if you want to get the A plus as quick as you can get it in a month, guys, but you're going to have to grind that bad boy out. And I would take each test a month, an exam. Trust me, you can take one next month. You can call them before you do it, or you can research it or ask, whatever, CompuTec rep. Take one section, the exam cram, or in these books, focus on one. They should have it where they're split up in the book somehow or another. So focus on that one, like the 901 or 902 first. I recommend, I'm trying to think what's the easiest, if you absolutely have none. I usually think the hardware is the easiest, but you know what, that's the way I'm going to go. I think understanding the hardware makes the software maybe a little bit easier. So the hardware to me, which is the, I think we said it was the 901, whichever's hardware and peripherals, is the one you want to start out with, because you can't have an operating system without having that, so that's a good starting one. So I'd focus on it first, grind it out, take that certification, you pass it, and it's like, okay, now I got this one down. I got one more to go. If I can do that one, I can do this other one. It's true, but that other one is a little bit tougher, so that's why I like the hardware. At least when I took it, the hardware was a little bit easier than the operating system and software. But now things have changed a little bit. So focus on the hardware first, in my opinion. Take it, pass it. If you hadn't passed it, do not move to software. Focus on that again. Retake it until you pass it, and then move to the software. Really get on it and pass it. And the reason I find that easier, especially if you're grinding out these exams, guys, is because if you're brand new and you're trying to learn both of these at the same time, it's going to be hard to take in as much detail in some of those, and your usually overall score won't be as good. Can you pass it that way? Sure, but your score will be better, and you could prevent the possibility of having to retake these expensive, keep dumping money. That's the worst thing, is you dump money. You pay for it, you pass it, feels good. You're like, wow, I'm glad I paid that to do that. So take one, so you can solely focus on it. Move to the other, solely focus on it. Pass them both. Be A plus certified, guys, and that will get you to entry level or get you into the IT field. But it does. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like, it will make you proud, and it's gonna feel good having that certification. But don't think that, and this is for anyone who's got it, because let's say you watch the video, you're really proud or whatever, you got your A plus. It's not the easiest thing. Just because you got an A plus doesn't mean that you're going to get a job just like that. But it gives you that door that you're looking for to get that job doing IT. It is a start, to get you in the door, to get you a job and a nice business with benefits, so on from there. And you can learn from other guys. Not only that, as you go, you can determine if I want to take my Net Plus, Server Plus, or do I want to go more towards this or that? Maybe I want to do the Net Plus, then go to CCNA route, or CCNP, or so on from there. Or I want to go A Plus, Net Plus, Server Plus, or and then from Server Plus to Security Plus. There's a lot of paths you can go, but A Plus is a great core path to determine where you want to go from there, and it's the entry level to IT, and it's the pretty much known basis that A plus that anybody who hires the minimum they'll put is usually A plus certification, preferred A plus certification, and that's what you want. Or even some of them put it as a minimum. You got to have an A plus certification or a degree or something to that extent, or some kind of certain amount of years in the in the background. Let's face it, if you already got experience in it, if you're taking A plus, you're just trying to better yourself. But if you're looking to like completely get an entry and you have, I mean, without nothing, it's going to be tough to get in this day and time. A plus is the way to get there. So I think the A plus certification is best. It's the quickest to get. If you do anything else, and this is just me talking, I ain't saying it's wrong or anything like that, because I know people will bash quick. It's quicker than going to a technical college. It's quicker than going to a university. University, you're going to have to do 2 to 4 years. To me, an A plus is equivalent to a 2-year associate's degree. Now, I'm not bashing it, guys. I'm not bashing it. It also depends on what you're doing. Associate degree person's going to be should be able to write better and have a little bit better overall handling in a environment as far as communicating, business related stuff, so on from there. But when it comes to the IT part, they're equal. Like the doors are the same as far as that part goes. So unless you're like a sales rep or something, then they might value that over it. But outside of that, if I had them side by side, I'm going to be like, well, the A plus, he passed the certification. This college, he took classes, but I really don't know. There's no standards there. I mean, I don't. That's true. Like, and people should look at it that way. There is no standards to the college to saying that this guy passed and that he did real well on it or he excelled. There's nothing there. Where the certification actually has standards. Everybody's taking this and has to pass it by these standards. So it's like the whole. So that's why certifications to me can be held higher. You got some universities are harder than others. That is in effect is based on university. There's really not a lot of regulations on some of that, so it's all based on the professors or the teachers you have and so on from there, if you pass or not. For the certification, they don't give a damn what you do. You're either going to pass it or you're not. There is no, I'm going to give you a few points because you're so close, or there's a bonus question. No, there's none of that. Certification doesn't have it. Either you know it or you don't. Kind of thing. So that's why I think they're great basis and guideline for a lot of HR people and what they should be going by. So that's why I feel the A plus is great. Technical college is going to take you about 2 years also. If you're doing one that's straight up for just A plus, there is a few out there that take like a year or something like that. I'm gonna be honest, they offered it at technical college I went to, but it wasn't worth a year. Like a year, yeah, you got the hands on and you actually did learn how to repair, but if the class had a little bit more, which it might have, and I don't know about it, like maybe some computer technician diploma or something like that on top with the A plus, maybe. That would sound good because they know you got the hands on and you passed the certification. But just to take a certification, not this one, guys. The books, they're just going by the book. The books that they displayed here, trust me. I'd use both of them books. I'd take practice questions. If you want to do hands-on, order your own stuff. It's cheaper than still going to a technical college or a university or any of that. From there, as far as just getting in the field, and it'll get you out. You can get in there. You can grind it. It's up to you how quick you get to it. Like I said, you can do it as quick as a month. I wouldn't go no earlier than that. But I would prefer if you're really grinding it a month per an exam. And that's coming from completely nothing. If you know a good bit, you're going to be able to get that book and you're going to be able to determine what pace you're at. But give yourself time. Make sure you're scoring high on the practice exams to where you're comfortable when you take the current exams. Because the max is 90 questions, but there might be 180 in this generated question pool that it's pulling from. So they ain't going to be the same 90 questions every time unless things changed. It was from a question pool, and they will pull a certain amount. Like it said 90 questions maximum. So you might not have all 90, but it said that was the maximum that you can have. And some of that might determine on what your score is at, where it goes. But guys, that does it. I'm Wade with CompuTec, and this is what I feel it takes to prepare for the A plus and to pass the A plus, guys. If you want the equipment, like I said, it's going to help a ton, but you at least got to have these books, and you got to grind them and do the practice test questions or exam questions. And if you got the money, then the equipment. And just to give you guys a general idea, if you just wanted to watch the A plus, right now is the time to cut it off, unless you just want to see the email address at the end or whatever, which you can go to the very end of the video or go back to the start. Just so you get an idea, the exam that I'm preparing to take, CCIE, which I hopefully will be taking soon, you can find, and this is what I mean by equipment. If I have the money, which I do it all the time, and you see I've got a kind of a telephone system, and that's actually an HP switch. But here is, because it's Cisco related, guys, you can see that I've got a network rack that's fiber up on top, fiber kind of patch. You got a phone down there. There's another one over here on the floor that's kind of wrapped up. You can see switches are over there. There's 2 more switches, actually 3 switches. One of those is an HP over there, and that's the 3750 Cisco switches. All of them are layer 3 switches. Down there below is 4 routers. I got a 5th one down over there. I think that's in the bubble wrap, and I got 4 more that I've got to add to it. And HP switches, I've actually got I actually have 7 of those. One of them you can't even see. I only got 1, 2 in this room. I've got 2 of them actually over here in a box, and I've got 5 more stashed that I've got to rack. So to study for the CCIE, I've invested a good bit on just the lab stuff, and it's probably where I'm going to mostly focus. Is finding stuff like that, because most of it is going to be lab based, because the CCNP probably as much as it gets to the book understanding. I might read a little bit on the CCIE stuff and so on from there, but it's all about layer 3 switching. So I got a ton of layer 3 switches with different services on them. I've got the Cisco routers. I got one with the call express manager. I actually got a PBX. You can't see it, but I got a PC over there beside that stuff that is a made PBX server, and it ain't Cisco, which I know that it's going to focus on Cisco, but the call manager express is so much easier than that. So if I understand it, it's going to help a ton. And I am getting a call manager express, so that gives you an idea. Like, I'm reading, I'm doing this, I'm investing into this. It's going to be a lot, probably more expensive than what it takes certification, but I want to really understand it before I take that certification. So that's some of the stuff y'all going to watch me go through. I'll probably maybe live stream it or talk about it as I set it up as things go, and I'll probably show some stuff from the past, just going over things to help people, because most people watching are not to that level. Most of them are kind of be starting if you're watching the channel or getting involved. So I'm going to go over a lot of these simple stuff, unless there's requests otherwise. And I'm hoping to, the CCIE I've kind of always put off. I've never done, and it was one of those things. It's like I don't need it. I always felt it wasn't that big of a deal, but now I'm realizing that it's becoming an achievement that I want. I don't know if it's going to really further me as far as career-wise. I feel comfortable in the career, what I'm doing, the amount I'm making, and so on from there. But it wouldn't hurt to have it from there. I mean, it's pretty advanced. It's really nice to have certification that's highly thought of for a certification. So that's basically, you can see what I mean by investing a little bit into equipment, like I was saying, for the PC and stuff like that. It doesn't hurt. It does help a ton when it comes to them certifications. So okay, guys, this is Wade, representing CompuTec, one of the co-founders and owners of CompuTec. This video was to help you with the A+, and I gave you everything that it takes to pass the A+ certification. Like I said, guys, I can't give you a bunch of details. I haven't taken the A+ since it's been updated, but if somebody threw the money out there, I would take the time to take it. Once I came out, I'd probably jot down some of the questions, notes, and where the focuses was, and put out videos strictly telling people how to train for the A+. And basically, I could give more of a exact time of how quickly I think somebody can really grind it out if they really sped, or trying to take it as quick as they can, the amount of time it would take, and what areas to focus on priority, and so on from there on them. From there, so any donations, if you do that kind of donation, guys, and you see it in the channel or you see it in my listing, specify it towards the A plus certification or something to that extent. If you're just funding money for me to take my CCIE, put it towards CCIE. That way I can divide these up the way that you guys are asking. Like I said, I'm already A plus certified, but if you want me to retake it, I'll take it just to help people out. Same way with Net Plus certified, but I'll retake it if it needs somebody to, you know, help, help somebody out on it. Uh, if you're CCNA and I'm going into CCNP, finish CCNP, going to CCIE, obviously I don't have to retake the CCNA. I can probably tell you what's on it from taking it and so on from there. But I basically have to take the CCIE within the next 2 years and a half to keep all those kind of validated. So, like I said, then will be easier. If I take the CCIE and pass it, obviously I'm going to know what's on the CCNA at the same time because I haven't taken it too long ago, and so on from there. Same with CCNP kind of thing. So, guys, I hope that helps you out for the A plus certification. If you have any questions, you can put them below. I'll try to answer them best that I can, or I might answer them in a video at the end of the next video or the start of a video that I do. With the title, I'll figure out some routine. But that does it, guys. And I hope that helps you with your A plus certification. And I wish you the best of luck if you're taking it. This is what I recommend. Some people might recommend something different or something that might work best. You know who you are. You know what it takes to a certain extent. You do know how you learn best also. And I'm just giving a general knowledge of what I think works best on the more general population or percentage of people. So thank you for watching, guys. If you feel free, send an email for the services. Like I said in the video, I talked about mentioning something that I would be doing later on for businesses, small business residentials that's related to CompuTec. And that information still will be coming out probably in the next week or two once I get a little bit more drawn up. Thank you for watching. See you guys, and peace.